Ladies and gentlemen, grab your popcorn, lock your doors, and maybe even call your lawyer, because what just went down in that courtroom makes every Netflix crime doc look like a bedtime story. Imagine the tension of a murder trial so explosive that even the judge looked like they wanted to duck for cover. And then, boom, out walks a witness nobody saw coming, dropping accusations hotter than a mixtape in the middle of a rap beef. This wasn't just testimony. No, this was a straight-up lyrical diss track in legal form. We're talking about a claim so wild, so career-ending, that the entire courtroom froze mid-breath. That Lil Durk, yes, the chart-topping, headline-hogging, controversy magnet Lil Durk, wasn't just caught in the orbit of King Von's death. He allegedly masterminded the whole thing. Masterminded. As in sat back like some hip-hop puppet master, pulling strings while the streets burned. Now, is it true? Is it smoke? Or is it the kind of accusation that makes even your own crew start side-eyeing you? And more importantly, why does this shocking witness sound like they've been holding on to this tea since the day Von died? Buckle up, because this ride is about to make history or rewrite it entirely. So here's the scene. Lil Durk, hip-hop royalty, the man who's been rapping about street codes, loyalty, and betrayal for over a decade, walks into court thinking it's just another routine day in the legal circus he's been living in. The cameras are rolling. His lawyers are smirking. The fans are outside chanting his name. Business as usual, right? Wrong. Because the minute that mystery witness takes a stand, the energy shifts. Not a little shift. This is a kind of shift that makes you feel like someone just changed the channel on reality. Every single person in that room knew something big was coming. And when they opened their mouth, the words hit harder than a diss track at Summer Jam. According to the so-called insider, Durk wasn't just nearby when King Von was killed. No. This witness claims Durk was the architect, the grand designer of a plan so cold it could make a mob boss take notes. They're talking detailed timelines, secret meetups, burner phones, and wait for it, encrypted messages that allegedly spelled out Von's fate, like some twisted rap prophecy. And here's where it gets juicier than a TMZ headline. This witness swears they saw Durk personally greenlight the move. Not a rumor. Not, I heard from a guy who knows a guy. No, they claim they were in the room when it all went down. According to them, Durk leaned back, smiled, and said something along the lines of, "It's time." Now, pause for a second. That's not just an accusation. That's a nuclear-level character assassination. If you believe this story, Durk isn't just guilty by association. He's the alleged puppet master in a real-life street tragedy. And let's not pretend this is coming out of thin air. This man's career has been swimming in controversy like it's a hot tub. Remember the Atlanta shooting case? Remember the armed robbery charges? The feuds with other rappers that somehow always seem to spill into real-life violence? Durk has been in and out of courtrooms more times than most people have been to the dentist. Of course, his fans will tell you he's just a target. Another rapper caught in the endless cycle of the justice system versus hip-hop. They'll say he's being framed because of his fame, his lyrics, his lifestyle. And hey, maybe they're right. Maybe this witness is just a clout-chasing opportunist looking for a book deal. But here's the thing. The details are dropping. They're weirdly specific. Like, how do they know about the alleged meetup at that little-known restaurant on the South Side 2 days before the shooting? How do they have dates, times, even alleged nicknames used in these so-called planning sessions? And why did they just happen to show up in court now, right when public opinion is already hanging by a thread? Public reaction outside the courthouse? Pure chaos. You had fans screaming, "Free Durk," while holding up posters like it was a concert. You had others chanting "Justice for Vaughn," with faces twisted in rage. And then you had the media, eating it up like free samples at Costco. Every outlet from street blogs to mainstream cable news was there, and you could see the headlines forming in their eyes. But here's where it gets even crazier. Our so-called anonymous sources, and you know we have them, claim that prosecutors have been sitting on this witness for months. They've been waiting for the perfect moment to drop this bomb, knowing full well it would detonate not just in court, but across the entire music industry. And according to one insider who claims to work in the DA's office, take this with a grain of salt, or maybe a whole salt shaker, There's even more evidence that hasn't been shown yet. Stuff so sensitive that they're keeping it locked up tighter than the Colonel's secret chicken recipe. So, what does this all mean for Durk? Well, let's just say if these claims stick, we're not talking about a slap-on-the-wrist probation situation. We're talking about the kind of charges that come with decades. And that's before you even get to the reputational damage. Hip-hop might forgive a lot, but being accused of plotting to murder your own friend? That's a stain you don't wash out. And yet, here's the twist. You can see it in Durk's face. He's not folding. Not yet. In fact, when the witness dropped that bombshell, he smirked. A full-on, you can't touch me smirk. Was it confidence? Arrogance? Or just disbelief that this circus has reached this level of insanity? Meanwhile, his legal team is already spinning the narrative. They're calling the witness delusional, attention-seeking, and unreliable. They're pointing out inconsistencies, questioning motives, hinting that maybe, just maybe, someone paid this person to talk. But in the court of public opinion, the damage is done. Social media is on fire. Twitter threads longer than Game of Thrones scripts are dissecting every word. Instagram pages are posting side-by-side photos of Durk and Vaughn with captions like, "Betrayal hurts worse than bullets." TikTok conspiracy videos are pulling millions of views overnight, complete with ominous background music and flashing text. Durk did it, and here's the scary part. Whether it's true or not, once that seed of doubt is planted, it grows. And right now, that seed is sprouting like weeds in an abandoned lot. Because at the end of the day, this isn't just about a murder case anymore. It's about the story, the myth, the image of Lil Durk as a loyal brother, the survivor of Chicago streets, the man who rose to fame alongside King Vaughn. That image is now under the guillotine, and this witness is holding the rope. And as the court adjourns for the day, leaving the crowd buzzing, one thing is painfully clear. We've only scratched the surface. The real madness? It's just about to begin. When court reconvened, the tension was so thick you could slice it with a subpoena. Cameras clicked like machine guns as Durk strolled back in, rocking that same calm but cocky expression. The kind that says, "I've seen worse than this." But the second the witness was sworn back in, the air shifted again. This wasn't just a casual continuation of testimony. No, this was Act 2 of a high-budget drama. The witness leaned forward, locked eyes with the jury, and started spilling tea so hot it could sterilize the microphones. According to their version of events, the so-called planning didn't happen in some dimly lit back alley. Oh no, it allegedly went down in style. VIP sections, champagne bottles, and whispers between beats of the music. Picture it. A table tucked in the corner of a private club, Durk surrounded by a small, tight-knit crew. The witness claims they overheard fragments of conversations that, in hindsight, sounded less like rap talk and more like war strategy. And here's where it gets absurd. They allege Durk was using code words, ordering extra bottles when he meant final confirmation, talking about special guests as stand-ins for certain people in Vaughn's circle. Sounds like something out of a bad gangster movie, right? But when you got a courtroom full of jurors hanging on every word, even the most outrageous claims start to feel possible. But it didn't stop there. The witness pulled out what they claimed was a burner phone. Yes, right there in court, allegedly used for coordinating the moves. Now, whether this thing actually contains damning evidence or just someone's grocery list remains to be seen, but the effect on the room was electric. Gasps, whispers. One reporter literally dropped their pen. And you know who else reacted? The public. Oh! The public went nuclear. Within hours, hashtags like hashtag Durk Mastermind and hashtag Vaughn Justice were trending worldwide. Memes exploded across Instagram, some mocking the witness, others painting Durk as a criminal genius. On TikTok, conspiracy influencers were connecting this case to everything from other unsolved shootings to, you guessed it, Illuminati rituals. Because apparently, no scandal is complete without the Illuminati cameo. The fake leaked documents started flooding the internet, too. Pages and pages of what looked like official transcripts and confidential memos, each one stamped with top secret, in font size 72. Were they real? Absolutely not. But did that stop them from going viral? Not even close. one anonymous source. And by anonymous, we mean their profile pic is literally a cartoon alien smoking a blunt, claim that the FBI has been monitoring Durk for over a year, waiting for the perfect storm to move in. Another swore that there's a hidden drive somewhere containing hours of audio where Durk allegedly talks about settling unfinished business. Now, if you've been following hip-hop for a while, you know this isn't the first time someone's career has been ambushed by a witness testimony. But the difference here? It's King Von, the loyalty, the brotherhood, the countless interviews where Durk called him family. It makes the betrayal angle irresistible to media. They're not just reporting on a murder case. They're selling a Shakespearean tragedy. And while the streets debate whether this is truth or fiction, the courtroom drama is only getting messier. Durk's defense team went into full attack mode, ripping into the witnesses' credibility. They pointed out past arrests, inconsistent timelines, and that suspicious burner phone, which, according to them, was probably bought on eBay last week. But here's the kicker. The prosecution doesn't even seem rattled. If anything, they're sitting there looking smug, like they've got an ace up their sleeve. Could it be more witnesses? More evidence? Or are they just enjoying watching Durk sweat in the public eye? Outside, the fan divide is getting uglier. One side insists this is a government setup, another in a long line of attacks on successful black artists. The other side says fame doesn't put you above the law, and that if Durk really did mastermind Vaughn's murder, he deserves the harshest punishment possible. The shouting matches outside the courthouse are starting to look like pre-game riots. And then came the most insane twist yet. Somebody leaked what they claim is security footage from the night before Vaughn's death. Now, I'll warn you, the quality is potato level, but in the blurry mess, people swear they can make out Durk's silhouette meeting with a few unfamiliar faces. Is it actually him? Could be. Could also be a random guy in a hoodie. But of course, the internet has already decided it's proof. Meanwhile, Durk hasn't said much publicly. Just one cryptic Instagram story. A black background with the words, "They can try, but they can't break me." It's vague enough to be about anything, but specific enough to keep the conspiracy machine running at full speed. And as if things weren't chaotic enough, another anonymous Twitter account is now claiming that someone close to Durk's own camp is about to flip. Turn state's witness to save himself from serious prison time. Whether that's true or just another breadcrumb in this ever-growing conspiracy buffet, we'll soon find out. Because in cases like this, the truth has a way of clawing its way to the surface. And if this witness is telling even half the truth, Durk's days as the untouchable voice of the streets might be numbered. But if they're lying, well, then we're watching one of the most dangerous smear campaigns in hip-hop history unfold right in front of us. As the judge banged the gavel to end the day's proceedings, one thing became crystal clear. Whatever's coming next is going to make today look like a warm-up. And tomorrow is when the real storm is set to hit. The storm didn't wait for tomorrow. It kicked in before sunrise. By the time the courthouse doors reopened, the air outside was thick with shouting, camera flashes, and homemade signs. Reporters in wrinkled suits, bloggers with selfie sticks, TikTok live streamers narrating every second. It was a full-blown media carnival. But inside, things got even more surreal. The prosecution rolled in with a manila folder, so thick it could have been holding a full encyclopedia. When the lead attorney stood up and placed it on the desk, every eye in the room locked on it, like it was the nuclear football. And then they said the words that made even Durk's defense blink. "We have corroborating testimony." Boom. Another witness. This new figure, face partially hidden under a hoodie, voice trembling, claimed they were part of the cleanup crew. According to them, after Vaughn's death, there was a frantic scramble to erase any trace that could lead back to Durk. Allegedly, phones were smashed, cars were swapped, and a certain luxury condo in Atlanta was wiped cleaner than a brand new iPhone. Now, whether this person is telling the truth or just reading off a script written by someone with a grudge, one thing for sure, it tightened the noose. Suddenly, the Durk is untouchable narrative didn't seem so bulletproof. And here's the part that really set social media ablaze. The second witness claimed they weren't doing this for immunity, money, or fame. They were doing it for Vaughn's family. That single statement triggered an online avalanche. Hashtags like #ForVaughn started trending, and emotional tribute videos flooded YouTube, racking up millions of views overnight. But it wasn't just fans reacting. The music industry itself began to show cracks. A few artists who once collaborated with Durk quietly scrubbed photos of him from their Instagram pages. One festival organizer postponed an upcoming show where he was headlining. Translation: they dropped him faster than a hot mic. And whispers of brands pulling sponsorships started making their way through insider circles. Durk's team wasn't about to let that narrative run unchecked. They fired back with a press release calling The New Witness a desperate fabrication designed to destroy an innocent man's career. They even hinted at launching defamation lawsuits once the trial wrapped. And yet, despite the pushback, you could feel the momentum shifting against him. Meanwhile, the DA's office leaked or accidentally made public, because sure, that happens, a list of possible cooperating witnesses. On that list, 2 names that matched individuals often spotted with Durk in behind-the-scenes footage. That revelation sent the rumor mill into overdrive. Was his inner circle turning on him? Was this the rap version of a mob family collapse? And then, because this case couldn't possibly get any messier, an unverified audio clip surfaced online. The voice on the recording sounded suspiciously like Durk, laughing and saying, "Everything's in motion. Ain't no turning back." Could it be him? Possibly. Could it be some kid in a basement with a decent mic and an agenda? Also very possible. But again, perception often outweighs proof, especially when the internet has already decided you're guilty. Now here's where the fallout starts getting real. Legal experts, actual ones with real credentials, began weighing in on cable news. They talked about potential charges, conspiracy, racketeering, accessory before the fact. The numbers they were throwing around weren't months. They were decades. Combine that with a federal angle, because yes, whispers of federal involvement are getting louder, and you've got a nightmare scenario for any defendant. And yet, in the middle of all this, Durk did something unexpected. Instead of hiding, he walked out of the courthouse, stopped at the top of the steps, and addressed the crowd. No prepared statement, no lawyer by his side, just him looking directly into the cameras, saying, "I didn't kill Vaughn. I didn't want Vaughn dead. And if you believe I did, you don't know me at all." Then he turned and walked away. No questions. It was bold. It was risky. And depending on who you ask, it was either the most authentic moment of the trial or the most calculated. But it didn't stop the storm. Because as the day closed, another twist dropped. A tabloid claimed that prosecutors were preparing to seize assets linked to Durk's label. If true, that would mean freezing bank accounts, pulling streaming royalties, and possibly even repossessing property. The idea of the voice of the streets, watching his empire crumble in real time, that's the kind of ending the media dreams of, even if it's far from confirmed. And so, we're left here, watching a case that's less about evidence and more about narrative. On one side, a beloved artist fighting for his name, his freedom, his legacy. On the other, a pair of witnesses painting him as a cold architect of one of hip-hop's most heartbreaking murders. Somewhere in between, the truth, or at least a version of it that a jury will believe. Whatever the verdict, one thing's guaranteed. This trial is rewriting the story of Lil Durk, and not in the way his fans hoped. And the scariest part? We still might not have heard the most shocking twist yet. Because if the whispers are true, tomorrow could be the day that changes everything. And there you have it. Another day in this courtroom circus. Another plot twist that makes you wonder if we're watching a trial or the season finale of the wildest crime series ever made. But here's the thing, what if this is just a prelude? What if tomorrow's big reveal makes everything we've heard so far look like a warm-up act? Ask yourself, if even half of what these witnesses are saying is true, what does that mean for Lil Durk's legacy? Is he the misunderstood voice of the streets being dragged to the mud for fame and clicks? Or is he the silent puppet master who pulled the strings while the world looked the other way? And if this is a smear campaign, then who's running it? And why are they willing to burn down an empire to get to him? I want to hear what you think. Drop your theories in the comments. Don't hold back. Was this witness a hero delivering justice for Vaughn? Or a clout-hungry opportunist cashing in on tragedy? And more importantly, what's the next twist you think is coming? If you've been riding this roller coaster with us, Make sure you smash that like button so this story keeps climbing the algorithm and reaching people who still think hip-hop beefs are just about diss tracks. Subscribe to Celebrity Press and turn on that notification bell. Because trust me, the next update on this case is going to drop like a bomb, and you do not want to be the last one to hear it. This is more than a trial. It's a story that could change hip-hop forever. And we're not just watching it, we're documenting it, one jaw-dropping twist at a time.